The United States has the firepower. The president, of course, has the authority. Iran sitting in Washington's crosshairs. So far, the order to strike from the U.S. has not come, even as the U.S. president has surrounded Iran with American warships, air defenses and troops. The military posturing alone, signaling readiness for war. But behind the scenes, there's a lot happening. America's Arab allies are pushing back, warning that an attack on Iran would trigger missile retaliation capable of shaking the entire region. Now, this is not just about diplomacy, it's about fear of Iranian missiles targeting US bases in West Asia, fear of Arab nations getting caught in the conflict, fear of a regional war that spirals out of control. So the question right now is, the way things stand, is Donald Trump holding back, and why? Now, is this Iran's deterrence, or is it about the non-cooperation from Arab allies who refuse to host another American war? According to a Washington Post report, Persian Gulf states have cautioned US officials that Iran's missile program remains fully capable of inflicting serious damage on American interests across West Asia. And these warnings, by the way, appear to be shaping Washington's military calculations. So that's significant. And the Trump administration, remember, initially floated the idea of military action as massive protests erupted inside Iran against its ruling system and the supreme leader. But the White House has since shifted gears, it seems, pushing Tehran back towards nuclear negotiations instead of open conflict. Washington continues to demand that Iran halt its nuclear program, restrict missile development and end support for allied armed groups in the region. And Tehran appears to be on the same page regarding discussions on its nuclear program. According to Iran's news agency, the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has ordered the start of nuclear talks with the United States. The move comes after Trump said he hoped diplomacy could avert military action, and Iran's foreign ministry says discussions are under review. Listen to this.
Various points have been exchanged. At this stage, we are reviewing and deciding on the details of any diplomatic process, which we hope will reach a conclusion in the coming days.
Iran says it expected a framework for negotiations with the United States would be ready in the coming days. But this diplomacy is unfolding under the shadow of missiles. After a US strike on Iran's nuclear program in June last year, Tehran retaliated with a symbolic missile barrage on the Al Udeid air base in Qatar. And that attack caused no casualties, but Iran has warned to US allies in the region that future strikes would be neither symbolic nor restrained. And with Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei yesterday warning that any US strikes on Iran would lead to regional war, to which this is what Donald Trump had to say.
Sir, on Iran, the supreme leader today said that U.S. attack could spark a regional war. Give you response to that, sir?
Why wouldn't he say that? Of course you're going to say that, but we have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
The thing is, Iran possesses a large, short and medium-range missile arsenal. Missiles can strike targets up to 700 kilometers away, putting US bases across Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar and the UAE within reach. While the Shahed-3 ballistic missile extends that range to nearly 2,000 kilometers. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal report, Iran retains mobile launcher stockpiles, missile production capacity, including more than a dozen military bases and tens of thousands of troops. According to experts, Iran has more missiles than Gulf Cooperation Council members have air defense missiles. That's significant. And this threat is serious enough that key Arab allies are stepping back. Saudi Arabia, the UAE have told Washington that US forces will not use their territory or airspace for operations against Iran. Just a short while back, Jordan's top diplomat assured his Iranian counterpart that the kingdom would not allow its territory or airspace to be used to launch attacks against Tehran. The Pentagon is now reinforcing defenses, rushing additional THAAD and Patriot systems to protect 30 to 40,000 American troops stationed in West Asia alongside naval destroyers already deployed. According to reports, despite incurring damages in that 12-day war, Iran's shorter-range and anti-ship arsenals remain largely intact. And that brings us back to the central question. What is really stopping Trump, if at all? Is it about Iranian deterrence? Is it Iranian missiles, their range? Or is it resistance from the Arab allies? We now turn our attention to three major developments impacting both Israel and Palestine, including a smuggling case close to Israel's spy chief, the tightly controlled reopening of Gaza's Rafah crossing, and a stark warning from the United Nations about what it calls a silent war in the West Bank. We're starting off with the issues surrounding the very top of Israel's security establishment. A close relative of David Zinni, Israel's recently appointed domestic intelligence chief of Shin Bet, faces charges for smuggling prohibited items into Gaza. Israeli authorities accuse the suspect of moving equipment with potential military use, including drones, phones, batteries, pesticides, and electrical cables, all concealed inside a truck, reportedly, cleared to operate in a restricted Israeli-controlled zone. All such items are forbidden by Israel, as it could end up in the hands of Hamas. Now, a court in southern Israel revealed the case after partially lifting a gag order because of Zinni's position. The police, not the Shin Bet, took over the investigation to avoid a conflict of interest. Now, judges have underlined that Zinni himself has no connection with the alleged crimes. Still, the case raises a lot of crucial questions, especially since Prime Minister Netanyahu has already faced criticism for appointing Zinni, considered to be an intelligence outsider, and after firing his predecessor, Ronen Bar, in that rather unceremonious manner. Now, let's just shift focus to Gaza's southern border and the Rafah crossing. After months of near total closure, the Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt has reopened in both directions under strict conditions. The reopening allows a limited number of Palestinians to exit Gaza and permits some to return. Israel, for that matter, demands full security screening, and authorities plan to cap daily movement. No commercial goods are allowed through for many Palestinians. Rafah represents the only gateway, remember, to the outside world. And that's why this is all the more significant. Around 20,000 people in Gaza requiring urgent medical treatment are waiting for permission to leave, while thousands are stranded abroad and they are hoping to return. The reopening forming part of the second phase of the October ceasefire, even as Israel maintains military control in Rafah and along the Egypt-Gaza border. And there is a new warning from the United Nations, this time focused on the West Bank. The head of the UNRWA says the occupied West Bank is undergoing what he calls a silent war, reporting record levels of violence since October 2023, according to him, with widespread displacement, home demolitions, rising settler attacks. And he says more than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed during this period. Nearly 1 in 4 of them children. Tens of thousands remain displaced. And he is warning that entire communities face intimidation and destruction, while accountability remains absent. The T20 World Cup is exactly 5 days away, but the most highly anticipated match of that tournament might not even take place. The Pakistan government saying the national team will boycott the clash against India. But the story is far from over, as the ICC has issued a warning to Pakistan. In a statement, ICC said, I'm quoting now, "The ICC respects the roles of governments in matters of national policy. This decision is not in the interest of the global game or the welfare of fans worldwide, including millions in Pakistan. The ICC hopes that the PCB will consider the significant and long-term implications for cricket in its own country, as this is likely to impact the global cricket ecosystem, which itself is a member and beneficiary of, quote unquote." And the Pakistan government on Sunday cleared the national team's participation in the T20 World Cup, which is co-hosted by India and Sri Lanka. However, it stated that Pakistan would not take the field for the league stage match against arch rivals India, scheduled for the 15th of February in Colombo. They did not specify the reason behind that decision. Under the hybrid model adopted by the ICC, Pakistan is scheduled to play all its matches in Sri Lanka. And under the current ICC rules, if Pakistan boycotts the fixture against India, it will forfeit the match and lose 2 points. Pakistan had earlier threatened to boycott the tournament, remember, after the ICC rejected Bangladesh's request to shift its T20 World Cup matches from India to Sri Lanka. Bangladesh has refused to travel to India, citing security concerns. But the ICC found no merit in the plea and replaced Bangladesh with Scotland. Just to give you a basic idea of how much actually rides on the India-Pakistan match, here's a look at the data from the 2024 T20 World Cup clash between the two sides. That was the last time they played in a World Cup match. The revenue generated around $300 million, which is by far the most for a single match, by the way. And most of the money is made through advertising. And this is one of the reasons why the ICC always ensures that India and Pakistan face each other at least once in a major tournament. And now the ICC has also warned Pakistan of serious consequences. While the ICC has not yet spoken about the nature of those implications, there are a number of possible sanctions that could really hurt Pakistan cricket. Pakistan could lose out on major revenue, not just from the match, but also from their annual distribution from the ICC, which is estimated to be about $34.5 million. Pakistan could also be asked to pay the official broadcaster for revenue loss. Cricketing penalties could follow, with the ICC isolating the Pakistan Cricket Board, and that will lead to other countries refusing to travel to Pakistan for bilateral series. While ranking points in various competitions could also be frozen, there could be an ICC-mandated ban on overseas players participating in the Pakistan Super League. And the most extreme step could be banning Pakistan from the tournament altogether, which will also put a question mark on Pakistan's participation in future ICC tournaments. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.